Senator Jim Webb, Senator Lindsey Graham, Howard Dean,
Bob Casey, Ed Rendell,
Dick Durbin, John Cornyn, Robert Reich, Douglas Holtz-Eakin, John Murtha, Chris Dodd,
John Kerry, John McCain.
Compete hard in every section of the country. For example, California. California can no longer be written off, in my view. And that means going to all parts of that state and reaching out to Hispanic voters, independents.
Let me be very clear about John McCain in 2004. John McCain in 2004 was a Senator John McCain. Nomination John McCain is a different person.
Senator John McCain is running on the Bush economic policies and the Bush Iraq policy. I think that is a portent of bad things to come for the party unless he changes his position.
I think that the person, the first and really major and overwhelming priority is a person who shares my principles, my values, my priorities. As you know, priorities are very important in presidents and could be immediately take my place.
I've talked to General Petraeus about a lot of things, but not about politics. So the best thing for General Petraeus to say is exactly where he is, and the vice presidential choice, I think, would build on his themes, but I'll leave that up to John.
The key to it is not to bail out people who speculated or people who engaged in unsavory practices. The key to it is get the lender and the borrower together.
I'm afraid that John McCain is kind of taking a let-them-eat-cake approach to the severity of this crisis.
Right now, what does he say? We're not going to bail out Wall Street banks. We want them to have more capital. Everything he's pointed to is exactly what Bob Reich has suggested.
I'm saying that we will win this state, but we'll win it somewhere between 5 and 9, 5 and 10 percentage points.
It's going to be tough in the primary. It's certainly uphill. But I think what he does in the spring will lay a foundation for the fall. I was, when I said that, an undecided voter. I became a decided voter, and at that point you have to make a decision when a competition is going on in your state. Do you sit on the sidelines as a public official when you have a strong feeling? And I'll tell you, I've never been more inspired by a candidate for president in my life.
But any victory over a man who outspends you 3-1 and is as good a campaigner as Barack Obama is an impressive victory.
Some voters in Pennsylvania just aren't ever going to vote for him. There were just interesting comments in different people's reports. People said he didn't wear a flag pin. That upset him. That is, they didn't like his name. Some people still think he's a Muslim.
That makes a huge difference for her because she can't catch up to him in the popular vote, which I think now is agreed upon as a criteria for her to be able to make her case to the superdelegates if she doesn't win Pennsylvania by double digits.
We have about 800 unpledged delegates, so-called superdelegates, and about 460 of them have already said who they're going to be for. So if the other 340 would say who they're going to be for, then we'd be all set.
If they didn't want the superdelegates to have independent judgment, they wouldn't have created them.
So you'd be willing to vote against the winner of the pledged delegates, the leader in the popular vote?
I haven't even gotten to the point of looking at how all that works, honestly.
There's an issue here larger than the fate of individual candidates. And I've been around long enough to watch this, that you end up with a brawl in Denver 8 weeks before the national election. You will not win that national election. Count on it.
You said you can't seat the delegates in Michigan, but you can count the popular vote, even though Obama wasn't on the ballot?
Right, because, Tim, you're running against yourself. That's the hardest thing. You can ask any politician, what's the hardest contest to run against? It's Bob Casey versus we don't like Bob Casey.
We want to seat a delegation from Florida. We want to seat a delegation from Michigan. But that delegation is not going to look like every other delegation.
It's not what they say, it's what they're able to do. It's the experience they bring to the office. It's who they appoint to the various jobs. And I'm convinced with Senator Clinton's experience, she'll be able to appoint the right people to the jobs. And both of them are going to take at least a year to get out. It might take longer than that.
We only have 2 nominees. Unless it's a dead heat, which I don't think is likely, there's no reason we shouldn't know our nominee by July 1st.
The other concern now is that the stress on our troops, particularly if there is a pause this summer, is going to be tremendous. The Army Vice Chief of Staff told Capitol Hill this week, our readiness is being consumed as fast as we build it. What do you make of that?
Is that, oh, okay, I'm sorry, I thought you were going to play a clip.
Talk too much.